Hey YouTube, let's get right to it. In this video, I'm going to show you how to actually learn a language as simply as possible. Like many of you, I struggled for years in high school and college to learn another language without success. I tried everything YouTube polyglots told me to do. Duolingo, Pimsleur, Glossica, but nothing worked. Then I discovered the Comprehensible input method that helped me finally reach fluency and connect with my family and speakers around the world. In this video, I'll explain what Comprehensible input is, how it works, and how long it takes to reach fluency. I'll also explain how to start speaking in your target language and give you some tips and tricks to make the entire process more manageable. First, let's break down what Comprehensible input means. Comprehensible input, also known as CI, refers to language you hear or read that you can understand the gist of, even if you don't understand every single word. What's considered comprehensible input depends on your level. For beginners, comprehensible input could be a video where someone tells a well-known fairy tale while pointing at pictures or drawings on a whiteboard to increase understanding. For more advanced learners, comprehensible input could be content such as anime, vlogs, or telenovelas. Learning a language through CI means acquiring your target language at a subconscious level, allowing you to process it faster and more easily. You won't need to translate from one language to another or think about grammar tables before speaking. You'll be able to recognize when something sounds wrong, even if you can't explain why, just like with your native language. Now that you know what comprehensible input is, let's talk about how it works and why it's so effective. Comprehensible input utilizes our brain's natural ability to acquire languages and recognize patterns. Unlike traditional methods, progress with CI will feel slow at first. As you immerse in the language, you'll slowly absorb parts of hundreds of words and grammar structures each day without even realizing it. Some things you won't understand until an intermediate or advanced level, and that's okay. The key is to listen to and read as much comprehensible input as possible. According to Dr. Stephen Krashen, comprehensible input is necessary and sufficient to acquire a language. Grammar study and vocabulary review are completely optional, although if there isn't much beginner-friendly content available in your target language, light grammar and vocabulary study can help make harder material more accessible by making it easier to notice patterns while listening or reading. If you decide to study vocabulary, I recommend using Anki, a free spaced repetition flashcard application that shows you the flashcards right before you forget them, so you'll remember the cards better and need to do fewer repetitions. You can either search for pre-made vocabulary decks or make your own. Refold has a great tutorial on optimizing Anki to create flashcards faster. I'll link it in the description below. Just remember, comprehensible input should make up 70% of your daily learning. It's what ties everything together and turns knowledge into something automatic. The best comprehensible input resources at the moment are Dreaming Spanish and Comprehensible Japanese. They have websites that track your progress with hundreds of hours of videos ranging from super beginner to advanced. The YouTube channel Comprehensible Thai has hundreds of hours of content as well, all for free. Other popular languages like German and French have hundreds of hours of beginner content spread across various channels. The Comprehensible Input Wiki lists resources for different languages. I'll link it in the description as well. So, how long does it take to reach fluency using comprehensible input? Unfortunately, we've all been lied to. There's no way to acquire a language in 30 days. The process will take hundreds to thousands of hours depending on the languages you know and your target language. The more closely related your target language is to a language you already know, the faster you'll be able to learn it. Dreaming Spanish has a roadmap for speakers of European languages who are learning Spanish or another Romance language, which I highly recommend reading. In summary, it says that a person at 150 hours of input will be able to understand a person who stays within certain topics. At 300 hours, you'll be able to understand a patient native speaker. At 600 hours, you'll be able to understand full-speed language when people talk directly to you, and you'll be able to understand native media more easily. At 1,000 hours, you'll be conversationally fluent for everyday purposes and understand 90% of most native media. By fluency, I mean being able to handle conversations comfortably, express your thoughts without significant pauses, and understand most of what you hear or read, even if you make mistakes or still miss some things. At 1,500 hours, you'll be an effective user of the language for all practical purposes. For reference, I could understand learner podcasts in Spanish at 150 hours of input, easier YouTube videos for native speakers at 350 hours, and dubbed anime at 600 hours. If you are a speaker of a Romance language who wants to learn another Romance language, you can divide the number of hours by 2. If you're a speaker of an unrelated language, it will take you roughly double the number of hours. All that said, it's important to keep in mind that these are general estimates and that some people will learn faster or slower than others. I'm sure you're wondering when you should start speaking. Many people think you need to practice from the beginning to learn a language, but in reality, waiting until you have a high level of comprehension will make starting to speak much easier. You'll use grammar more accurately, remember more words, pronounce things better, and notice your own mistakes. Reading and writing before starting to speak can make speaking easier. When we read, we silently pronounce the words, which helps our mouths get used to the sounds. Reading also improves our grammar by letting us notice things we might miss when just listening. What you'll be able to read will depend on your level. You'll most likely need to start with graded readers or children's books and work your way up from there. Writing helps you practice building sentences without pressure. Keep it simple. Text a friend, journal, or write about familiar topics. Don't stress about mistakes. Focus on getting comfortable recalling words and putting them together. Speaking will still feel rough at first, regardless of when you start, but you'll improve quickly. According to Refold, people who wait to speak until this point tend to feel more comfortable speaking after 50 hours of conversation practice, quite comfortable at 100 hours, and feel like it's no problem at all at 200 hours. Again, these are general estimates, so don't feel discouraged if it takes you longer to feel comfortable speaking. Everyone's journey is different. Now, let's go over some tips and tricks to help you stay consistent and keep the entire process manageable. It's common to feel tired after listening to your target language when you first start the acquisition process. Splitting up your time throughout the day will help you prevent that feeling. Burnout is another common experience. Think of the minimum amount of time that you can spend learning 99% of the time and set that as your daily goal. You can always do more. However, setting your daily goal this way will help you be more flexible with your learning while still feeling like you've accomplished things on busier days. Tracking your hours is a great way to stay motivated. As I mentioned earlier, progress when learning with CI can sometimes feel very gradual, but as long as you keep listening, you will improve. Tracking your hours is a great way to remind yourself that you are getting better and making progress. If you're looking for a way to interact with native speakers while staying focused on input, consider trying Crosstalk. Crosstalk is a type of language exchange where you and your partner speak your native language. This allows you to practice listening to your target language while expressing yourself comfortably in your own. One of the benefits of Crosstalk is that both people can adjust their speech to match the other's level, making the exchange more effective and enjoyable. If you and your partner are a beginner, I recommend using the whiteboard feature on Discord. You can search for images or GIFs or draw pictures to help each other understand better. Language learning doesn't have to feel frustrating or complicated. By focusing on comprehensible input, you'll be able to understand and speak with native speakers. Remember, the process might feel slow at first, but consistency is key. Trust the method, enjoy the journey, and before you know it, you'll find yourself thinking, understanding, and speaking in your target language naturally. If you want to learn more about my Spanish journey, I highly recommend checking out my 2,000-hour update, where I break down everything in detail and share more helpful advice. Don't forget to check the description to see the links to the resources I mentioned, plus some extras. And of course, like and subscribe for more language learning tips and updates on my language learning progress. See you in the next one. Happy learning.